Shopify, the e-commerce platform made for you. Whether you sell online, on social media, in-store, or out of the trunk of your car, Shopify has you covered.
Shopify is the newest sponsor of the Throw Your Boss Out podcast. Thanks to all of our listeners. This running the podcast network, it's kind of a personal thing because our listeners really love our shows. They interact with us. And I just got to let you know, if you like the podcast, support our sponsors. It helps our sponsors. It helps us continue to do the podcast. Thanks to our longtime producer, Brandon Morton. And if you want to advertise with this show or any of the shows on the talknorth.com network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com.
Diamonds in the rough sparkle when the light hits them in the right way. Here's how to find great people for your team by shining the right kind of light in the right kind of way. So, it's good to be back. Took a little bit of a hiatus here.
Good to see you, Joe.
You've been busy, I've been busy, but we're back.
And we're expanding the network. It's cool to have this business show on talknorth.com. We've also added former Vikings general manager and former NFL Executive of the Year, Jeff Diamond, to our team. We keep growing.
Yeah, no, it's the team is getting better and better. I love to see the emails coming through saying we've added a team member. It's awesome stuff, no doubt about it. So, salespeople. I just got to take a little bit of a venture here on this. Salespeople.
Help me with this.
This happened last week. Remember, when you're selling, don't sell. Stop trying to convince people. So I'm in one of our retail stores and a person comes in, and the funny thing was, and the thing I was the most disappointed in, is she started out the right way. So she started asking great questions. It was a product. It was advertising, right? Something that I just feel like I know what I want. Mm-hmm. I don't like people trying to tell me what to do. But she asked a really good question, and she got me talking, which is almost impossible. And then, boom, right away, as soon as she heard...
Getting you talking is impossible?
Yes. In that situation, okay. I clam up because I just want it over with as quickly as possible.
Got it.
Because the one thing I don't like is for people to tell me what I need, mm-hmm. right? I like them to have some conversation with me, and when I find that they really either care or are good at pretending they care, then I give them the time. So she started down that path, and then it just started in with all the reasons why I shouldn't think the way I think, and it was just painful. And
Sounds painful.
And you're standing there even thinking to yourself, can she not read my face? Like, how do I make the I'm done here face any more clear? Anyway, a little bit of advice for our salespeople out there. So, how do you find good people for your business, Jim?
Please tell me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm saying that partly sarcastically. I have, in starting my own business at an advanced age and not knowing what I was doing, my biggest mistakes were hiring people who ended up not being good or honest, and some of them were highly recommended. Yep. I'm very happy with my people right now, my team, but it took a while to get here.
It does take a while to get there, and I think the first piece of advice I have for anybody is, they say if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you always got. You heard that before? It's very true. When you're hiring for your team, you have to remember you're competing with other companies, and the last thing you want to do is copy what they do. And in essence, the last thing you want to do is what everybody does. You don't want to do things the way people really even tell you what to do. And I'm not even going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you how to think a little differently so that you can approach it in a different way. But the first thing is you have to approach hiring new people with a different perspective. You got to shine the light into the rough in a way that the diamond sparkles. And that's what I'm telling you. You want to find the diamonds in the rough. You want to find the people that other people have overlooked. You want to find the people that a second chance is going to make a huge difference. You want to find people that are going to appreciate the situation that they're in, right? And so you have to try new methods. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So the first thing I would say is if you have a team in place, you obviously have people who are working out the best, right? They're the ones that are producing the best. They are the ones who are seeing the problems and fixing the problems, the ones that are being effective. Every person who owns a business knows who in their company I am talking about. And what I say is study their character. And the first thing I suggest that anybody does, of course, unless your business needs licensed, qualified people, certainly this may not be the best advice. But in any other case, study the character of the people that are succeeding in your business the best. Don't worry about skills. Don't worry about aptitudes. Don't worry about, more than anything, don't worry about experience. So find out what it is about those people. What are their people skills? Their characters, the best word I can come up with. Find out what they have. These may be similar for other people, but in our case, what I found was they have a genuine honesty. It may sound, you said I want to get honest people because you maybe had some people that weren't honest. But do you know what I mean when I say that there's different kinds of honesty?
Oh, no doubt about it. Yes, and we could do a whole podcast on that. And you're also bringing to mind my daughter, who she went to the University of Missouri, which is where I went. Graduated. She bounced around different majors trying to figure out what she wanted to do. She ended up getting an English degree. She ended up getting a job at the Missouri House of Representatives, and she just got hired as a chief of staff for a Maryland state senator.
Awesome.
And it's not like she had a wealth of experience. It's not like she really studied specifically for that, but she comes across people as a hard worker, who's very trustworthy, who's smart, and you can take those things and apply them to a different job and do very well at that job.
Mm-hmm. So I found that there was a kind of a sense to this genuine honesty that I bring up. The kind of honesty that comes out, it's proactive honesty. There's reactive honesty, and it's still honest. But if somebody is being honest, like when the light is being shown on something, or still good honesty, glad people are being honest, but I like the people that are pointing stuff out ahead of time, or are, they have it is a little hard to describe, but there's just this.
Well, proactive is a good word for it.
And it's also a very secure honesty. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but they're honest because they have nothing. They don't fear the consequences. They know that bringing up the truth and bringing up problems that exist and things they know that's the best thing to do, and so they're going to do it regardless of the consequences. There's other forms of honesty, like we talked about, the reactionary type honesty. There's the people that are honest, as I said, when a light is being shown on. There's also people that are honest about everything they can find and it's even proactive, where they're just trying to prove themselves. Like, I'm going to point out the most things that are a problem so that I'm looking. And these genuine honest people that I'm describing, which our company is filled with, thank God, those they know when to be honest, right? There's just something about it. So I look for that. I look for sensibility. I looked and I saw that all the people that we had in our organization that succeeded they didn't get over emotional about things. They could kind of look at a problem and dissect it without having too much reflection on themselves about it, and even if they made the mistake. And in reaction to that, I learned very quickly not to take advantage of that. It's very easy as a business owner or anybody that's in a leadership position, to take those situations and go, yep, so you can't do that again. I think we talked on one show. I had one of our first people had said to me, don't hold things over my head. When I make a mistake, I know I made a mistake. I don't need to be reminded. It's not going to help to do that. So I work so hard to not do that. And I feel like if we have somebody where it keeps coming back to me, and I keep thinking, I think I need to remind them of what happened 4 or 5 months ago. If that happens 2 or 3 times, then I know that that person's not the right fit for the team. There are just little indicators. And these are the things that we need to look at.
Let's continue down this path. I do want to tell people that this is talknorth.com. We appreciate it if you download before you listen. It's a better listening experience. It's also good for our business as we talk to larger advertisers. You can subscribe at iTunes, your favorite podcast app. Thanks to producer Brandon Morton. And we should, before we get back to the topic, we should tell people about Shopify.
Yes, Shopify is probably the greatest e-commerce platform on the planet. I can personally vouch for the fact that I've tried almost every other major e-commerce platform. And what I mean for those people who may not understand what e-commerce platform means, it's a website tool that allows anybody to set up a website and start selling products. That's the point of e-commerce. It would be the opposite of maybe a WordPress blog site or something like that. If you're trying to sell products, you want to know who Shopify is. And we have a link on the Talk North website next to the show. And we'd love if you're going to investigate Shopify that you click on that link, because that's part of our agreement with them in terms of the advertising platform. But I'm a big, big fan of Shopify.
So go to talknorth.com, check out Shopify through our website, and we appreciate it.
So back to the topic. The other thing that I look for is reliability, and not in the common sense. Reliability, you might think they show up on time. I am talking about reliability, meaning they do what they say and they say what they're going to do. I'm talking about the fact that you can count on somebody to not only do what you've asked them to do or you've laid the groundwork for, but they will reliably find things along the way that also need to be fixed, that also need to be taken care of, and they just go ahead and take care of it. They come back later and they say, listen, I was doing this, I found this, I took care of that, hope it was the right thing to do. I encourage, I don't know if other business owners feel this way, I encourage people, I say quite often, find that line that you're comfortable with making a decision on, and I want you to take one giant step over that. Not more than one, but I want people on a regular basis to take risks and I want them to make mistakes too. I want them to make calculated mistakes that they know are not so expensive that we can't bear the expense. But I want people to do that because there's nothing better. You learn so much more from a mistake than you do from a success. It's not even close as far as the race goes. So you want to look at your team and you want to find out what it is about them. I also think it's a great idea to employ some of these personality tests or personality profiles. Sometimes people get a little nervous about the word test. It's probably not a great word for it. But I would find some tool that, and there's many out there, I would find a tool that you can, we don't even use ours literally. Like when the results come back and it says, oh, this person will be this way and they'll be that way and they'll exhibit this trait and that trait, we find it's probably not that accurate from a literal sense, but what it is extremely accurate with is when I compare the person's profile to somebody that's already on the team, right? So if you do use a tool, have everybody in your company take the profile. And then look at what the people that succeed the best have in common. And just you could almost cover up the words. Just look at the graph. Just look at the characteristics. And that has been extremely helpful for us to point out and to find the right people for the right positions. So I'm a big believer in those things. Again, not from a literal standpoint. So I'm going to tell you about a few things that we do that resulted from me thinking a little differently about things. You can use these if you want, but that's not the point of why I'm telling you this. I'm going to just tell you these things so that you get an idea of what I mean by doing something, different. So whenever we are in the process of hiring somebody, we first thing I do is I never publish a wage.